Welcome to the running journey. Welcome to the running journey.
Welcome to the running journey.
Welcome
to the running journey. Running journey, yeah. Welcome to The Running Journey, a transformative podcast telling the story of two brothers faced with a very tough time in their lives that decided to do something about it, get healthy, get fit, and start jogging. The Running Journey will take you through half marathons, Ironmans, ultra marathons, and their attempt at qualifying for the Boston Marathon.
Don't forget 5Ks. Sorry.
We're certainly not going to forget 5Ks, Charlie. This is The Running Journey. Listen to us while you run.
That's a great idea.
Okay, I think we have our intro. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Rob Tatro here. I'm here with my brother, Charlie. Charlie, great to see you again.
Same.
Good week this week?
Yeah, it's been a good week. Yeah, for sure.
Today we are talking about the post-race blues. You and I ran a 2:56 a couple of weeks ago, 2 hours and 56 minutes. You ran a 2:55 or 4 or whatever it was, 2:54. And today we're talking about the post-race blues, or call it whatever you will. How did you deal with it? First off, you've done 6 marathons now. How do you usually recover from a marathon? What do you usually do? You take some time off, I guess?
I've been all over the place. So this was my 6th. For my first 3, I kind of went with the normal process of just taking maybe a couple days off and then starting to run.
Normal according to who?
I don't know. There's tons of things out there that say different things. What I've found recently is that the biggest consensus I've read from some of the best marathoners is to take 2 weeks without any running. So for my 5th marathon, I didn't take any break. I just kept running my basically 6 miles a day, easy runs every day, and I ended up getting injured. So I think that's definitely not the way to go. This marathon here, I took 2 weeks off, which is kind of, to me, the mainstream way, the most recommended way of dealing with a marathon. It was really, really tough for me because I hadn't done, the most I had done not working out was 1 day probably in the last year. Like that was probably the longest. And I started really not feeling good physically, mentally. It was tough. So then when I finally got back to it, the 3 days in, it was like, oh, this is how it feels like to exercise. Felt great to get back at it. But the 2 weeks in between were really hard.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like I just wanted to go out and jog, but my coach gave me 2 weeks off, but said, if you're feeling good in week 2, you can do some biking or you can do whatever.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I was supposed to take 2 weeks off, but I only lasted 10 days.
Yeah, I think I did 7 days.
Yeah.
7 or 8 days, and that was good. You just want to get going again. You just feel like, because there's a couple things happening. One, there's the now what, right? The arrival fallacy, which is like you've gotten there and you're kind of disappointed because you don't know what you're looking forward to next. And then there's the not jogging, which doesn't release the serotonin, doesn't give you your high, the runner's high, or whatever the heck you want to call it. So I had both factors. So you actually do get like, I don't know, it's definitely some sort of blues or some sort of.
And there's a bit more, I think, to it too as well. Like for me anyways, the 2 months leading up to my marathon, my intensity and my preparation for that marathon was, I had never been in a zone like that where the discipline I did everything nutrition wise. I ate everything exactly how I wanted, basically almost. I exercised every day how I followed my plan to a T, and now all of a sudden there's no goal in the future to kind of
that's what I was trying to say. That's
help
exactly
you with
what
that.
I was trying to say.
Help you with that discipline, and I just let go for 2 weeks. Gained 14 pounds, I think.
Yeah. So kind of what I was saying for me was, you have the plan in place where everything is scripted, everything is decided ahead of time, everything is, and you're everything, you're working in your body and your mind and your spirit towards this goal that you could see in the distance. And then once you get to that goal, there's the nutrition there. Like, what do you do for nutrition? Do you care that much anymore if you're having a little extra protein or a little short on protein, or a little too many carbs? Not really. Do you give a shit? Probably not. I kind of didn't. What about the jogs? Well, yeah, you want to get there, but I mean, what's next? So there's that whole mental aspect, and then there's the physical aspect of the not jogging, the lack of serotonin, the lack of endorphins or whatever the heck are released. It's just you're not getting that high, right? You're not getting high off the running.
Yeah.
Do you what do you do? Like, did you do anything specific this time, or were you just kind of aware of it and you're just kind of?
Well, I was aware of it. It was much, much worse this time because last time
you kept jogging.
I kept running every day.
So you had a piece of addiction that was being fed.
The addiction kept getting fed, and then I still had well, even this time, I always, honestly, in my last month before a race, I start thinking about the next one because I want to have a goal for the next one. So for the last one, I already knew this was going to be the next one, and then for this one, the last one we ran in November here, a month ago, I already had I had 2 or 3 different plans. So I knew there would be something after, but so yeah.
One of the things I want to talk about is for today's episode is kind of the decision-making process that you take into kind of picking your races or picking the next thing you want to do. How do you go through that?
Oh, it's a bit random, I think. So a while back, I had decided I wanted to, one of my kind of life goals was to qualify for Boston, and now we did that in November. And also break 3 hours. But I had kind of other goals in the back of my mind that I said, if once I do that, then these are kind of the options in the back of my mind. One of the options was doing an Ironman. So that's kind of, and you've already done one. So I'll get some value. I've got a couple friends that have done one, so it'll be good to have that experience. And so that was the next one I decided to do. So it's kind of random, I feel like, but I had it is one of the things in my kind of goal. I kind of have, like, I guess I've got a goal list in the back of my head of things I want to do in running / endurance sports. And I guess you go through them one by one.
I think the way it works probably for most people, and I don't know, but for me definitely, is you vow to complete something. So you say, I want to do a marathon. I want to complete one. Then you try to improve it. Then you try to reach kind of holy grail numbers, 4 hour, 3.5, 3 hour. And then once, in my mind, once you kind of reach what you think is like pretty darn close to your best possible time in that, you're kind of looking towards either you go longer distances, you go multiple different races in a period of time, or you go kind of slightly different variation to an endurance sport. Is kind of the 3 things that I would think of. So, you said that you always want to do an Ironman. So I feel like that's probably a natural progression for good endurance runners is, you know what, can I do an Ironman? Can I run a marathon after swimming 3.8K and biking 180K? And that's what you came up with, right?
Yeah, I'm also gonna do kind of like an 8 hour as much as you can run race, which
that's the Frozen Falcon or whatever.
Frozen Falcon, yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
Joel
how about
Taves.
yourself? What are you doing next, Rob?
I'm doing a 50 miler in Houston, like a trail run, I guess, or whatever they're called.
Okay.
I kind of always, so Joel Taves, who's my personal trainer, he's the one who's organizing the Frozen Falcon. So I started working with him a while back, and just to hear him talk about like 50 miles and 100 miles and longer races, kind of gave me the urge to see what that would look like. So it's funny. I asked him, I asked my coach, and I asked you, I think, do you think I'm crazy? I want to do a 50 miler in 2 months. And like my coach was like, well, first Patrick was like, so my coach was like, well, it doesn't really matter what I say because you've already probably decided and you're probably going to do it. So let's just get you trained up and ready for it. So do you really want to know what I think? I was like, kind of, yeah. He's like, well, I think you could do it, but like, don't expect to break records and make sure you train. I said, okay. And then my personal trainer was kind of like, you've already decided, haven't you? I was like, no, I'm just kind of asking your opinion. And he's like, he said kind of the same thing. You can do it, but, and then you kind of said the same thing. So I said, screw it. I'm just doing it. And whatever, I'll do like a 30-mile practice or something like that on trail when I go down south at Christmas, and we'll see what that looks like.
Talking about practice?
We talking about practice, not the game. We talking about practice. So you've decided you're going to do a Frozen 40. What's that like? Like, it's a loop, right? It's a loop course.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to expect. So the big unknowns for me are, I mean, I've got a lot of experience running in cold. I did it all last winter, and last winter was the worst winter, like the longest winter we've had, probably since 97 here.
In Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Yeah. So I have a lot of experience doing 4 or 5 hour runs in cold. The big question mark is how the trail is going to look like, and just kind of nutrition and stuff, because it's going to be so long. And ability to endure. So yeah. So either way, though,
I have zero doubt about your ability to endure.
But my goal there is not to like break records or anything. My goal is just to not just take it easy. And,
you do basically as many loops as you can in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like a 5K loop or a 10K loop or something like that.
I think they say it's 4 miles.
Okay.
But yeah.
And have you set a goal for that?
No goal. My goal. Well, I don't have a goal. I don't know what the trail is going to look like. Like, so running outside in the winter really makes a big difference what the surface is like, and if it's windy, and if there's so many factors. So no goal. I'm just gonna maybe just keep running for 8 hours.
Keep running, keep moving for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Joel was telling me that so I have almost zero experience running outside in the winter. Well, I have zero experience running outside in the winter, and I have very little experience running outside. I'm a treadmill guy. So he was telling me, like, in a year where it's slushy, like if it's too warm, you can't, like, it's so hard on the legs.
Yeah.
Right. If you get really warm, and then if it gets too cold, obviously that's hard, right?
Yeah.
So like,
well, the surface might be better unless there's a fresh snow, right? So
yeah, if there's a fresh snow, it's hard. If it's too warm, it's hard. And if it's very, very cold, it's hard because of the cold in the lungs, right?
Yeah.
Or is that a thing, the cold?
Yeah, I think it's a bit harder when it's like about minus 20 Celsius or minus 10 Celsius. It starts getting a bit harder, I think.
Okay, like you can't get the oxygen, like you're not feeding, the oxygen's not settling in.
You're just not quite as efficient as you would be, I think.
Well, plus you're layered up. You got all these, like, you're sweating in. Are you sweating still? You're sweating still.
Yeah, well, I am.
Yeah, you're sweating. So your stuff is
some people
like,
maybe not, but
your stuff is cold. Like, you got sweat on there, and then it's cold. You're layered up.
Yeah, I'll have to talk with my coach about strategy, but I was thinking get like 3 different kind of outfits and switch them up so that I get something dry every few hours.
Oh, do they must have like a changing tent or whatever, or warm?
Well, yeah, there's a whole tent. Once a loop, you can go inside a tent. So it's kind of, that's why I'm not as worried, because like you've always got that security of coming back every 4 miles.
Right. Man, when I used to, back in the day when training was very, very hard for me, I would always go if I knew I wanted to, like, 8 miles, let's say, which was a lot back in the day, I'd go out 4 miles.
Yeah.
And then you don't have a choice. You have to come home. And what are you going to do? You're going to take an Uber back home? No, you're going to jog back home. So I do like that. This, it's kind of ironic. So you've decided that you're doing this Falcon race, and then you're doing the Ironman. The Ironman is in Tell me about the process in deciding to do an Ironman. Yeah, I know you talked a little bit about it. It was a natural progression, but like you've always wanted to do it. Why did you pick this one? Is it me? Did I peer
Oh
pressure you a
yeah, yeah.
little bit?
So because you're going, you told me to go. That's why. So
Yeah.
that was the process. That was kind of a bit of a nudge that I needed. So, but I always wanted to do an Ironman. Like, there's no doubt about that. I just wasn't sure if now was the time or later. So yeah.
Man, you're so fit right now. You're so ready for it. Like, I think it's the perfect time because there's not many. Well, you're healthy. Who knows what might happen in life, right? Like you're able to do one now. So I was saying, like, just do it.
Yeah.
You're ready. You got this. It's a little bit of training, but the training is fun because it's you're
Yeah, that's really interesting for me actually, the training now that I started it a little bit. So the biking and improving so much. It's like when you start running again.
yeah,
Like,
because biking and swimming, you're starting at a fairly low level, right?
yeah, like I'm a really rookie, right? So it's
You're a
like
hacker.
I'm improving so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
But
good feeling. And like I find that so like the arrival fallacy, like this whole thing where you're training towards an end goal, when you're training for that Ironman, every training session I feel is so more rewarding because you're thinking of that end goal and it's like
yeah,
it's not climbing Everest, but it's not running a marathon, right? It's like
yeah,
something in between and you're already getting the reward from finishing a race that you haven't finished yet. So when you're doing a 2-hour swim or I don't know if you'll do a 2-hour swim, but maybe an hour and a half swim, or if you're doing like a 6-hour bike ride, it's really like, holy shit, this is going to be awesome when I complete this Ironman in a month or 2 months or whatever.
but
For
I'm at that state right now where it doesn't happen that often. It happened for about the month before the marathon that we did, where I did my personal best, the last one, 254. Where I'm looking forward to every workout. So I'm back in that mode where I'm looking, except for the runs, I don't look forward to as much. But the bikes and the swims, I'm looking forward to like crazy. The runs, I don't know why I'm not looking forward to as much. I think it's because they're just all easy runs, and I'm like kind of out of shape compared to when I was before. But the bikes and the swims, I look forward to them so much. So it's good.
are
How
you
about you?
doing do you have a trainer? Are you doing it in your basement?
Yeah, I've got a trainer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
What did you buy?
Well, I bought a bike, and
Yeah.
it's got a little thing. I don't know what the terms are. That it's got a trainer attached to it, and I just
Okay.
pedal, and it tells me the power,
Did
and
you
there's
have
an
to
app.
remove the wheel and put it on the trainer?
Yeah, I took the wheel off,
Yeah.
and it's connected to this gear thing that turns, and it's connected
Was
to
the
an app.
trainer separate than what? Didn't you have to pay for the
Yeah,
trainer?
yeah, I paid separately for the
Okay.
trainer.
Was it like a Sweeto or was it a
Sweeto, yeah, you got it.
Sweeto?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it links into this app called Zwift. I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people know about it. Yeah, it's fun.
And they get you with the Zwift, $15 a month or whatever the heck it is after
Yeah,
your free month.
yeah,
I made a list today of all just for fun. I made a list today of all the monthly subscriptions that I have in my life,
yeah.
and
A lot of them are Ironman related, or
a
what?
whole whack of them are fitness related. Yeah,
Yeah,
Zwift and Training Peaks and Fitness Pal and anyways on and on. Okay, so you're doing the time in your basement. It measures your power, measures your cadence. Do you like Zwift?
yeah. So far, I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Do you think? Yeah, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it.
Well,
Do
I
you?
mean, you watch movies, right? How do you do it?
Yeah, so I just have my phone on Zwift, so it's kind of, and then I just watch a movie or a show, and I check my phone every once in a while to make sure that my cadence or whatever is high enough. And depending on the workouts you get, if it's like one of these intervals where you're doing 15 seconds, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, you kind of have to stay sharp and you kind of have to watch your screen, right? But if you're doing like
Well,
30 minutes at 195, then you don't need to. Then you can
but
just
like as long as there's no cadence, right? The ERG handles pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, I don't. I used to do them all on ERG, but I stopped that
Oh,
because
okay.
it's just too brain dead. It's
Yeah,
too
yeah.
like
Well, yeah. I'm such a rookie that it's good. Except the other, so except one of my last workouts, it kind of randomly just shut off.
the ERG. Yeah, that happened to me
And I had
once.
to do like, it was a high watt. It was like my threshold set that it shut off. So I ended up having to like I tried to catch up, and I was on the wrong gear, and I was trying to switch gears, and uh and my cadence hit like 160 or something like that because I was trying to catch up. Anyways, it was a disaster. And then the next set, then I kind of recovered and I was able to do it pretty close. But I had to do it all manually that time. So yeah, ERG is kind of brainless, but it keeps you in line too. So I don't
It
know.
definitely keeps you in line. Yeah. Okay, so you're doing an Ironman. There's a crew from Winnipeg actually that's going. There's myself, Trav is going, Dwayne is going, you're going, I'm going. So there's at least 4 that I know from Winnipeg that are going to Houston. Apparently a relatively easy Ironman, I think, in that the weather potentially could be hot, but it's April. It's not like it's June. But yeah, it looks like it's relatively easy on the easy side. I mean, you're still swimming 3.8K and then biking 180 and then doing a marathon. But I like the loops. I like how it's set up. You're doing, have you thought about your race calendar for the rest of the year?
After that?
Yeah.
No, I got 2 things that I want to do after, but in between those, I don't know. So I want to do the TCS, or I don't know. It's called the New York Marathon.
Yeah.
In
October, November,
November
of
next year, and then Boston Marathon in 2024, obviously.
Yeah. So now so it's been about 3 weeks since you've done your last marathon. For me, like I looked at my training this week and I think I had an hour jog yesterday, and I told my coach, I said, I need to do something different. I need to do like 15 miles or something. I was missing it so bad. Like I was missing and plus if you're not doing anything on a weekend, if you're not traveling, for me, if I'm not traveling or if I'm just at home doing relatively nothing, I need something. Like I need something to fill, like to look forward to and to fill the day. So I decided I was going to do 15 miles. And like, he's like, Key, well, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. What are you talking about? Like I've been running like for a year, but I do get that. I guess after marathons, they want you to take it easy, but
Well,
good.
yeah, I got injured last time, but I did way more probably than what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm still doing a lot of biking too, because I guess I'm training for the Ironman too, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like I'm barely running. So
yeah, which is okay though, right? Because you're probably biking. What are you biking 2-3 days a week?
Yeah, 3 bikes, 3 runs, 2 swims.
And you have a bike run on one day or swim run?
Bike run.
Bike run.
Crushed it. No, I didn't. Bike was good. The run wasn't. My running sucks.
You felt it in your glutes?
No. I feel like my cardio hasn't come back yet. Like it's like I'm a minute a mile slower almost than I was. Anyways, but that's gonna come back eventually. You just got to be patient.
Yeah, for sure.
Except I'm worried that it won't come back if I don't put enough miles. Like I'm used to putting way more miles in, so I'm a little worried that it won't come back. But I'm trusting my coach.
Listen, the swimming is like an unbelievable exercise. You're not losing anything by swimming for an hour instead of running. You're gaining anything by swimming, I would argue.
Maybe.
Come on.
I feel like as a runner, like okay, so I don't know, but
I don't know either. But
I think there's a benefit to swimming. But I think like if I were to train for a marathon, I wouldn't swim. I'd just run.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't think you're losing. You're getting less impact on your body.
Yeah. So it's a good break, that's for sure. Yeah.
It's a good break without damaging your body and still getting a ton of benefits.
Yeah. No. I get that part. I just feel like maybe my aerobic fitness or my running fitness is just not quite. But it doesn't need to be that good for an Ironman, right? Because I'm not going to be running that fast, right?
No, like it's way different for the Ironman. It's just a totally different.
It's a whole different. It's just about endurance, right? So.
Yeah, it's just can you just keep going forever and ever at a relatively easy pace, right?
Yeah.
And it's just I think the Ironman is mostly mental. Like it's not okay. I'm not trying to say it's not that hard. It's that hard, but because the thing with the Ironman is you're not doing the Ironman the day you're doing the Ironman. You did it the 4 months prior when you were training. Like,
yeah.
And if you actually do that, then you're going to do the Ironman as long as you're mentally strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And you are. So I think you're going to do great. But I wonder if do you think the top marathoners ever swim as part of their training?
No, they do cross training. I mean, some
Yeah.
of them, depending, like, but if they're injured, like uh, I don't think Elyad does any. He does strength workouts. Yeah, I don't think he does any. Maybe a bit of cross training. I don't know. I think some of them do. Some of them don't.
I know that when I was playing volleyball at University of Moncton, what was that, 20 some years ago, we one of the days we had to go swim. We had to go just swim laps in the pool,
Yeah,
just whatever. I this was a different era, obviously, and I don't know what they knew, but I remember swimming and I remember thinking like,
but I could see
okay,
that being more valuable for a volleyball player potentially. But
yeah,
maybe I don't know.
okay, all right. So the Blues, you're over them. You're jogging. You're moving. You're over them. For me, it was tough. It was tough. The post race blues, just like, okay, I did it. I completed this race. I met my goal.
Yeah.
It's the and I can't. My God, I had to just keep going. Hey, do you want to? Did we tell that story about that guy we met? The guy we met at
Oh
the
yeah,
breakfast.
yeah. We should.
I
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to
a good
check in
story.
on him. Do you know how he did? I don't even know how he did.
No, I don't know how we would.
So
Because
Charlie and I are, and
we
my
didn't get
dad
his
are.
name, did we?
No, I don't think we got his name, but I mean, we could probably check guys roughly that age that finished kind of around the 5 hour mark.
Yeah.
But we decided we'd drive the course when we were in San Bernardino the day before. So me, Charlie, and my dad, Claude, we got into our rental vehicle and we like drove the entire course in order of the marathon. And we went right to the top of the hill. And at mile 9, there was a little cafe. We stopped, we pulled over, we went inside. Oh, my dad got a coffee. I think you got a coffee. And this guy goes to you. He's like, hey, you're a runner. And he goes to you. And I'm like, hey, what about me? I'm a runner too. And he's like, you guys running tomorrow, obviously, right? And Charlie's like, yeah, running tomorrow. Then he told us a story about, what did he have? Cancer? I forget. Was it cancer or a stroke or
Well,
he
so
qualified for
he had a
Boston?
heart stroke. He qualified for Boston,
Yeah.
and then he had a stroke, and then you probably know the rest of the story.
Yeah. Well, then his doctor said, you can't run Boston. But then he's like, oh, I really want to. And then he kind of got just healthy enough to, what did he do it in 6 hours or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he qualified for Boston running, what did he have to run? A 4 hour, probably
Probably
350 or
somewhere around there. Yeah.
340. He was like 70, I think. So he qualified and then got a heart attack. He had like a year or whatever. And then he was kind of cleared 3 months out and he just trained as best he could. And he did Boston right after having a heart attack and he did it in 4 hours. And I was just like, man, this guy was like, it just the picture of perseverance from what I recall. And he was talking about his goals for that day and he wanted to sub 5. And I was like, good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I bet you he did it. Bet you he killed it. Bet you he came in way below 5.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
the cool thing about running. There's so many stories. Everyone's running for their own different purpose and their own different goal. And it doesn't need to be a sub 3 or a sub 4 or a sub 3.5. It could be just, I had a heart attack and I want to complete one, right? Love to hear your stories, guys out there. Feel free to put in the comments. Send us a note. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your stories. Why do you run? Why do you listen to this podcast? What do you get from it? I know what I get from it. It's kind of changed my life completely. Bubbly now is my drink of choice. This is it's crazy with bubbly how much market share they've taken, I think, in the last while. These sparkling drinks didn't exist and now they're everywhere. All right, thanks guys for tuning in today. That was a fun one. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Charlie and I will see you in the next episode. Have a great week. Enjoy your running, guys.